Hello and welcome to this evening's episode of On the Record. My name is Vuyo Mvoko. Well, on tonight's show...
Thank you, Chairperson.
How an arguably frivolous point of order plunged Parliament into chaos.
You are talking complete rubbish now, and you are making this House a joke.
Honourable Member, Steenhuisen, can you withdraw from using that word towards me?
Plus a one-on-one interview with the Speaker of the National Assembly.
I know I have been fair to everyone, and I have a sense of peace when I go to bed at night.
Well, National Assembly Speaker Baleka Mbete raised eyebrows yesterday when she announced that she would expunge Economic Freedom Fighters leader Julius Malema's speech from Hansard. Pressed to state the rules she relied on to take such a decision, Mbete said she would reveal that later. In an interview I had with her this morning, I asked how she arrived at that decision.
What happened there, Vuyo, is that we had a leader of a party, an honorable member of parliament, who in fact, while he was speaking, making reference to something else, indicated that no matter who said, no matter what rule, no matter what court rules, he would not abide by certain things. Now, this is something that he was not saying for the first time, that they don't respect rules, they don't care about the protocols, they don't care about conventions, and everything was said and done knowingly to actually just undermine any decorum, let alone in a debate of the sort of debate that we are having yesterday and today. Now, when I said what I said was to assert the fact that we cannot be helpless in a situation where people are not only disrespecting other honorable members, but they are disrespecting all of South Africa. And so I said what I said. As for the ruling and how the issue is going forward, I think we should wait for this afternoon sitting where the ruling will come to the House. At least let's respect that so that I don't give a ruling on air.
And I'm leaving. I can't sit here to debate what you presented here because you are not a legitimate president. Bye-bye.
Honorable Malema, as you leave, I want you to know that, as you know, what you did was wrong. You should have done it in the form of a substantive motion. You did it knowingly, and it was wrong, and shall be expunged from the Hansard.
But then you did take a decision yesterday. You did make a pronouncement that said that you were going to expunge his speech. The question that then subsequently arose was, what rule were you then using to arrive at that decision?
I am saying I am going to be speaking exactly to the issues you are raising in the ruling this afternoon. And let's wait for that view.
Well, a couple of hours after that interview, Parliament was indeed back in session for the second day of the debate of President Jacob Zuma's State of the Nation address. And among the first things the Speaker sought to address was, as promised, her announcement that she would expunge Malema's speech.
During the debate, the remarks that are completely unparliamentary were made. Names of certain premiers were mentioned and aspersions cast on their characters. They were said to be the most corrupt people, and others were accused of participating in the disappearance of opponents. This, as members know, is unparliamentary. Having regard to the seriousness of balancing the privilege of freedom of speech and the protection of the rights and privileges of other members individually and collectively, I will, in consultation with the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, refer the principle of this issue to the Rules Committee for processing. This morning, I also received a letter from the EFF in which they request that the Speaker withdraws, quote, the communication to expunge the speech and address of Honorable Malema from Hansard. Honorable members, this statement also addresses that issue.
Well, what is, of course, still unclear is whether what the Speaker exactly found objectionable, whether it was the entire speech or parts of the speech, the parts that she referred to, but we will certainly know about that as the story develops. In our interview earlier, here's what I had also asked the Speaker. Isn't that, Madam Speaker, what a lot of people, your detractors, say is actually the problem, that you take decisions and then take time to get to explain them, if you explain them at all? Perceptions.
I think we are not going to be intimidated by detractors. The fact that people say what they say about events that unfold in front of them because it suits a particular perspective in the political space must not make us flinch from the truth and that which we know is correct.
Well, do stay tuned for the rest of that interview, including her answers to such questions as whether she hasn't at any point perhaps considered vacating her position and whether from where she sits she thinks she's doing a good job. First up, though, how an arguably frivolous point of order threw Parliament into chaos. That's after this short ad break.
And I'm Prabhakshani Chetty Miller, SAB Miller, Anheuser-Busch InBev. It's something that I need to learn to say more often.
Will together produce around a third of the world's beer.
It is a mouthful.
Have you ever considered skin bleaching?
Nigeria tops the list of African countries with 77% of its women bleaching their skin.
Now I can see that it is not good because it affects my face and some of my body parts.
Thousands of Arab Israelis and Palestinians participated in a big rally.
Flight MH17 was shot down by a Russian-made missile.
How those chips may fall is a prediction best left to the currency of time.
That's Primetime News, Africa Journal, and Your World on SABC News.
Well, for those of you who may have thought drama and chaos only happens when the EFF is in the house, you may have to think again. The naughty new kids in the red overalls were not in class today, but Pali was no less eventful. And the source of it all, what one MP from one adult party thought was a harmless point of order.
All right, David Chair, I'm trying to check whether is this parliamentary for Honorable Malume Likota or calling us factions in Parliament. I think we're members of Parliament, we're not factions here. Thanks.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Can I take the point that we don't have factions in Parliament? And therefore, Honorable Member, can you refrain from using words that are divisive in the House? Honorable members.
No.
What would be the point?
Point of order. The point of order, Chair, is that you are suppressing the Honourable Lekota's right to freedom of speech. There's nothing unparliamentary about the word fraction. And if you are ruling that that is unparliamentary...
Honourable
no, this happens every time you're in the House. Every time you're in the chair, this House degenerates.
I've heard what you're saying.
You've got no control of this House, none whatsoever.
Honourable Steenhuisen, I've heard what you're saying. And the insinuations that you are making, and I'm taking them very serious, because upon conclusion, honourable members, I said, may the member refrain from using any words that may cause confusion and uncertainty, in whatever way.
You are talking complete rubbish now, and you are making this House a joke. You are turning this House into a joke.
Honourable member.
You're not fit to sit in that chair.
Honourable member.
How dare you infringe on his right? How dare you infringe on his right to freedom of speech?
Honourable member, can I address that issue? Can I address that issue, and I will address it in the following way. Honourable member, Steenhuisen, can you withdraw from using that word towards me? Can you withdraw from that?
What must I withdraw?
That I'm talking rubbish.
It's right. You're saying rubbish is unparliamentary now as well.
Honourable members.
Are you ruling that the word rubbish is unparliamentary?
Honourable member Steenhuisen, do you want to intervene, honourable member?
No, I think it's important that I do that. Because we sat here earlier on today and allowed members from the other side calling a whole political party racist. You didn't intervene. Now, there's a whole section. Ndatelukota is correct at calling a member a faction. It's well within his rights.
Honourable member.
Invent rulings.
Honourable
you can't
member.
invent rulings. I ask you to please allow Ndatelukota to proceed. We simply are not going to sit here and take biased rulings.
Honourable
please
member.
ask Ndatelukota to proceed. Please.
Honourable member, I will insist on honourable, and I would really request Honourable Steenhuisen to withdraw the word saying that I'm talking rubbish. Honourable Steenhuisen, can you withdraw the word that I'm talking rubbish?
What rule is that word on the basis?
Honourable member, I find it quite insulting.
No.
For me to be told that I'm talking rubbish.
It's not true.
Can you withdraw that, honourable member Steenhuisen?
I won't withdraw it because you are talking rubbish.
That's it, because I'm irritated now. Honourable Steenhuisen, I'm asking you again, can you withdraw the word rubbish?
House Chair, I will not withdraw the word rubbish because you are talking rubbish.
Then you would leave me with no option than to ask you to leave the House.
I'm happy to leave the House. It'll save me having to listen to your rubbish.
May you please leave the House? Honourable Lekota, can you continue with the debate?
Chairperson.
Can you allow Honourable Lekota to continue the debate? Honourable members.
Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Chair.
Honourable members of the Democratic Alliance. Can you allow Honourable Lekota to continue with the debate?
Can I take a point of order, please?
What will be the point of order, Honourable?
I want to understand from henceforth on what basis did you allow Honourable Steenhuisen to come out? Many comments have been made in this House. There's been no such ruling. Can I ask that you be recused from the chair? Please, can we request that?
Honourable members.
You can be recused from the chair, please.
Honourable members.
We can't operate on this basis.
Honourable Maimane.
We cannot have biased rulings. We can't.
Honourable Maimane.
No, we can't.
May we allow... Honourable members, you won't allow me now? Can I make a ruling on this behavior, honorable members?
Honorable Chair, chuck out this bloom pants, man.
Can I ask, if you are not going to allow Honorable Lekota to continue the debate, I'll have no option, honorable members.
Chuck them out, please.
The DA
please
to leave the house.
Get out.
Honorable members, I'm now ordering you to leave the house. May you please leave the house. You are disruptive. Honorable members, can I ask,
on what basis?
Can I ask the honorable members of the Democratic Alliance, because of a disorderly behavior, to leave the house?
On what basis?
If you so refuse, may I therefore request,
Speaker.
Honorable Chairperson.
Point of order, Chairperson.
Chairperson, I'm rising on a point of order.
No.
On a point of order, Chair.
No. Can I raise a way forward?
Honorable members,
please, can I engage you?
We're not.
Want to engage
no way forward here, man.
Honorable members.
No way forward here.
Speaker.
On a point of order.
Can I request that we have an engagement?
I am advised to request the whips to convene and to try and resolve this matter.
Can I request that we do that? Yeah.
Because
Chairperson, on a point of order, please.
Can I suggestion? Can I ask you to do that? Can we adjourn for a few minutes?
No, we are not adjourning.
No, you will sit here. No, we're not going.
Order.
We are not going.
On the point of order, Chair.
We're not going to be told by you when we must withdraw here, man. We're not going to be told by you here, man.
Honorable members.
The real culprit behind the behavior of the DA is the leader of the DA. Is Honorable Maimane, who questioned your ruling, fully aware that there are procedures in this House that guides everybody prejudiced by the ruling of the House must go through that process. And he didn't do that. He agitated all of them to behave like they did. And therefore, he is the first who must be asked to leave the House.
Can I recognize you, Honorable Member?
Chairperson, you are being inconsistent with your rulings. Last week, the Honorable President Jacob Zuma said the DA is better, and you did not say anything. Now, Umtutuz Manana is saying futek to the members, and we are saying nothing. Why don't you remove them as well?
No, I didn't hear that. You see, honorable members, that's exactly what I raised earlier on, to say that the extent to which we are being disruptive, it makes the life of a presiding officer difficult insofar as listening to what other people are saying. There is a proposal on the table, and I've also been advised that the whips of political parties to meet and have a discussion on this particular issue. Do you agree with that proposal?
On a point of order. Oh, sorry.
Okay, let me recognize you first, honorable member.
Okay. Thank you. Honourable Chairperson, I really have a bit of a problem with your rulings as well. Earlier today in the House, we heard Minister Jumat Peterson saying that the members of the EFF was delinquent juveniles. No one said a word. When Honourable Zekalala carried on about lupins, there was nothing said. We talk about a faction. We're not attacking any individual. It is not a point of order.
Honourable members, there is a proposal on the table. Are we agreed to that proposal? That the whippery must meet and sort out this kind of issues?
House Chair.
Deputy House
Honourable Chairperson, that is our member on the floor. Okay, there's no problem with meeting with a whippery, but then the House must be adjourned for 10 minutes or whatever the case is, because my member's time must be reset.
No. Maybe you might be able to assist me, Honourable, and then I'll recognize you.
Honourable Mtlegas, let me rather put it this way. I don't understand why you must be involved in this. The first thing is that it was a political statement that was made by Tati Lekota. There was nothing unparliamentary about it in the first place. We've made such statements in the House all the time. Even the Honourable Minister that spoke before Tati Lekota did exactly the same thing, and she wasn't asked to withdraw anything. She was not reflecting on the behavior or on an individual member. Why was she asked to withdraw? The second issue. No, Tata, blame them. The second issue is that you had a few members of the Democratic Alliance that were chanting. You couldn't identify them. Now you're asking the entire caucus to move out, which is wrong. Now you are saying because you've told the entire caucus to leave the House, now you're saying you must go out and to talk about it. Talk what? In the past, where a ruling had been made where you are telling members of the House to leave the House, members of the House would leave the House, would not be involved. We would be applying double standards. Remember, when we tell the EFF to leave the House, there are no meetings.
Okay. Honourable members, may I assist this process?
Chairperson.
Let me take you as the last, and then I...
Yes, Chairperson, but there's an error that you must admit on your ruling. You can't say to all members they must leave the House. You need to point to one member.
The point has been made.
House Chair.
May I take you as the last, and then we proceed with the business of the House.
House Chair, may I address you, sir?
Yes.
The Honourable Lekota was entirely within the rights to use the words faction. It is not unparliamentary. The Honourable Steenhuisen was within his rights to use the word rubbish. Any ruling other than that is a violation of freedom of speech, which is enshrined in our Constitution. And I would therefore ask you to withdraw that ruling, that you have to withdraw the ruling that faction is unparliamentary, and you would have to withdraw the ruling that rubbish is unparliamentary.
Honourable members, I will once more remind ourselves and assert our ability and our right to freedom of speech. And I would once more encourage ourselves as members to be careful of the kind of words that we use in the House. And I still maintain that I take strong exception over the fact that I'm told that I was talking rubbish. I take strong exception to that, and therefore, as a ruling on the matter, I would not withdraw, and I wish to allow the Honourable Lekota to continue with the debate. Honourable Lekota, can you continue with the debate?
Honourable Chairperson, am I to understand that I am no...
Chairperson.
I thought I made a ruling on the matter.
But I brought to you that Deputy Minister Mtudu's insulted members. So you need to make a ruling on that one.
Honourable members, my ruling on the kind of words that we use in the House stands to say, because it is very difficult. I didn't hear that.
He shouted, and I told you.
Honourable Deputy Minister.
Chairperson.
Is it true that you used the word that you are accused of having used? And if so, may you please just withdraw that word?
I couldn't have, Chair. I couldn't have said such. But you can check the Hansard.
Okay, fine.
Honourable Chair, please check the Hansard, because I saw him and the microphone was on.
Honourable, no. It's okay. We'll check Hansard and then we'll come back on the usage of that word. Honourable Lekota, can you continue?
Well, On the Record continues after this next break.
Going for victory requires intense effort and teamwork. When you get to it, there is no turning back. Because all eyes are on you. When it's action time, nothing should stand in your way. Sports Live tackles and analyzes all the sport action. This is the home of all your sport news, updates, and more. Sports Live, weekdays at 8:30 p.m.
As stories are broken around the world, SABC makes sure you do not miss out. As the stories unfold throughout the day, News at 8 updates all newsworthy stories worldwide. Globally, we are there. Locally, we leave no story untold. Make a date with News at 8 every Saturday and Sunday on SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Welcome back. You're watching on The Record. Well, of course, we are bringing you day 2 of that State of the Nation address debate. And a little later on, we will, of course, be bringing you an interview, or the second part of the interview we brought you earlier with the National Assembly Speaker, Baleka Mbete. But now, the chaotic moments and profanities, of course, didn't stop the actual debate from going ahead. Several ANC MPs still managed to use their allocated time to highlight progress they believe that their government is making in improving the lives of South Africans.
The State of the Nation address and yesterday's debate rightly focused on the state of the economy, at least from members and speakers from the ANC. Unlike, regrettably, some in the opposition who resorted to schoolboy debating tactics, making puns on words, inventing imaginary planets, ignoring inconvenient facts. The new global economic context impacts deeply on South Africa. Fact. It requires that we step up efforts with the private sector and with organized labor to create jobs, to reduce fractious, conflictual relationships, to build a deeper partnership. We need to do this with greater urgency because we are confronted with big headwinds that can slow our progress. The deepest and most devastating drought in many generations. A global economy that's volatile, with lower growth, countries in recession, and less demand for our platinum, our iron ore, and our gold. Fellow South Africans, even with these headwinds and the real challenges we face, the past year has seen real, concrete progress. The economy created 712,000 new jobs in 12 months in tough, difficult conditions. We should not and will not succumb to a narrative of anger, despair, hopelessness, and blame. There was a lot of that yesterday from sections of the opposition. They make good profits of doom and gloom at a time when we need collective leadership and a closing of ranks as South Africans. It is the ANC that is seeking to unite South Africans, talking to business leaders, trade unionists, stepping up actions to deal with these challenges. We are not a people who curse against the darkness. Instead, we light a lamp, roll up our sleeves, and get to work to create hope and optimism.
The Independent Power Producer Program, Honorable President, is your legacy. It was started by you, Honorable President. The very same whose Honorable Vusi Manamani has complimented you on your legacy project, the Independent Power Producers Program. So thank him for complimenting you. Honorable members, since 2011, our turnaround plan, our new sense of urgency, our country has been offering an attractive market for both local and foreign private sector investment in renewable energy. This has resulted in South Africa being ranked consistently as one of the global leaders in renewable energy. This is a turnaround plan. We are sought after for investments in renewable energy. The day before yesterday, Honorable Deputy President, the Japanese investors were lining up not to see your beautiful smile or smell your cologne, sorry for that, but to invest in renewable energy. After your meeting, Honorable, sorry to burst your bubble, they were running after me and not after you. They want to invest. The economic policy which you have developed, Honorable President, is succeeding in the renewable energy space. This program, Honorable Member, attracted in your province more than 100 billion rand in foreign direct investment. Your Western Cape province has to thank our president for your investment in your province. South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Even the Western Cape will remain part of South Africa. Honorable members, policy certainty will bring a further 53 billion rand in only 3 projects in the foreseeable 3 months. The annual competitive bidding process, policy certainty, an effective leverage, rapid, global, technologically sound process, IPP office. Why are you so in love with this office? Because it is an ANC government-led office. The only office you happen to be in love with. It is generating investment. And you cannot simply imagine that a historically disadvantaged government can be successful in renewable energy. By the end of 2015, we had achieved several major milestones through this project. Let me take you through these milestones. We increased renewable energy capacity by 2,000 megawatts. 40 operational renewable energy plants in some of the poorest areas of our country. Areas which you have neglected. Areas which historically you have neglected. You unfortunately cannot wipe the past. Not even God can erase your past. South Africa, our solar plants, those solar plants in the Northern Cape have you to thank, Honorable President. It is your legacy. The square kilometer array has you to thank, Honorable President. It is your legacy. The new university in the Northern Cape, the Salt Plaatje University, one of first of 2 new universities in our democracy, is your legacy, Honorable President. The people of the Northern Cape, I'm one of them, are eternally grateful for your legacy.
In his State of the Nation address, His Excellency President Jacob Zuma alluded to the realities of climate change that has created an unprecedented high drought levels in South Africa and the world over. And notwithstanding the realities of climate change, he has also conceded to the fact that the issues of water are just as good as the issues of inequality in terms of land ownership and the ownership of mineral resources in our country. Water has been used as another means of continuing to undermine our people, making them prosperous as emerging farmers, as an old lady in Kanyagute, in Pitidi Sulejang, in Zirast, and all of us, we know that in the last 20 years, indeed, there's a good story to tell about water. When we came in, 36% of South Africans had access to clean water.
Minister, please take your seat, Honorable Minister.
I'm very busy.
Please take your seat, Honorable Minister. Let the member speak first.
Oh.
Yes. What are you raising, Honorable Member?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, would the Honorable Member there take a question?
Sipizinjani. What we are dealing with now, it's not only the issues of drought, it's also the realities of the mess that we have inherited, whilst we have also been able to make a big difference that in 1994, only 36% of South Africans had access to clean water. Bravo to the African National Congress, that today, more than 86% of South Africans have access to water.
Let's hear a point. What are you raising on?
Well, opposition MPs, on the other hand, largely use their time to lament ills that they say are still facing the country.
Yes, there was a turnaround plan, but the turnaround plan did not contain any new economic policy. What the turnaround plan did contain was economic policy that had never been implemented. The Presidential Review Commission on State-Owned Enterprises was completed 3 years ago. Its findings have never been implemented, and it's hard to believe that its findings will ever be implemented. And what the turnaround plan did contain was economic policy that had been implemented but that had failed. The cost containment measures are important but are largely symbolic, targeting 25 billion rands worth of expenditure and saving a mere 2 billion rand or 0.2% of total government expenditure in 2015-16. What the turnaround plan also contains was a one-step forward, one-step backward economic policy contradictions. We want to encourage investment, but then we want to prohibit foreign land ownership, which will discourage foreign investment. And we want to phase out state-owned enterprises, but then we want a state-owned pharmaceutical company, which will crowd out private sector investment. In the end, the turnaround plan only served to illustrate that the Minister of Finance, Mr. Pravin Gordhan, has very little policy space in which to maneuver ahead of the budget.
Once we are in the legislature and not in the cabinet, our duty is to hold the executive to account. The presiding officers are there to protect our right to hold the executive to account. And I must say this, once the executive has been identified, all of us members of the legislature, members of the ruling party and the opposition, we are expected to compose the legislature. All of us collectively are expected to hold the executive to account, not to protect it.
Currently, the sparks of racism are being thrown into dry grass everywhere. The problem is that the majority of these comments generalize. Let me give an example. All white people are racists, or all black people are criminals or corrupt. A generalization is always wrong, because all people are not the same. So when the ANC Legotla says in a recent statement, the black majority believes that their attempts at nation building are rejected by the white minority, it is a dangerous generalization that incites and divides people into camps. When the president says all the problems of this country started with Van Riebeeck, it's a racist oversimplification of our complicated history and a generalization. The same goes for saying all land was stolen. History is just not that simple. Go and read that. What does the FF Plus say? Racism is a very serious issue that must be condemned unconditionally. Racism from the side of white people or black people carries the germ that could destroy South Africa and all human relations. Similarly, generalizing is always a mistake. But leaders must set the example. Leaders from all sides. Leaders determine the tone of such debates. Therefore, I want to repeat it in Afrikaans. Racisme is 'n baie ernstige saak wat veroordeel moet word. Racisme van swart kant of van wit kant dra die kiem om Suid-Afrika en alle verhoudinge te vernietig. Net so gevaarlik is veralgemening altyd 'n fout.
We should all be honest with ourselves and admit that there are racists in all race groups. Racism is hurtful and its effects are devastating. It violates the dignity of all who have been created in God's image. It is a sin before God that we must all confront and repent from. Secondly, government should revive the late President Nelson Mandela's commitment to reconciliation and nation building and take the lead in this. To talk about reconciliation and revolution simultaneously is counterproductive, as these two things are mutually exclusive. The ANC must desist from using the race card whenever they want to shift blame for their failures. And thirdly, I want to encourage all South Africans to become agents of peace. Distance yourselves from those who incite trouble and racial hatred. They only seek to keep South Africans divided and angry. We must choose rather to become nation builders, those who are able to diffuse volatile situations and bring life and hope. We must remember, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, that reconciliation is not a once-off event. It is a work in progress, and we dare not become complacent in pursuing it.
Well, after the break, the remainder of that interview with the Speaker of the National Assembly, Baleka Mbete. Do stay with us.
SABC News. We report, contextualize, and present news and current affairs honestly, fairly, and fully. We consider it a duty to provide consistent, relevant, useful, and top-quality information and analysis. Our mission is to provide credible, accurate, and interesting news programming, bringing news into everyone's homes in everyone's languages. Thank you, South Africa, for relying on SABC News for quality news output and for making us your #1 source of information. SABC News, Africa's news leader.
The big news is Newsroom.
We also stream live on YouTube.
Whether you're at home, at the office, or at the gym, wherever you are, Newsroom is right there with you. Bringing you all the latest news, updates, sports, weather, and everything in between. Get all the latest news you need on the go via live streaming on our YouTube channel. That's Newsroom, weekdays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News channel.
Well, we now leave you with the rest of that interview with National Assembly Speaker Baleka Mbete. This part begins with her responding to the allegation that often she is seen dealing differently with members of her own party as opposed to those from the opposition.
Do you remember, Vuyo, that yesterday at the start of the proceedings, a deputy minister rose and raised a point of order, which I pronounced on, and he proceeded, and I ruled him out of order, and he was an ANC member. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember when I do rule against ANC members? Because it's not true that we only rule opposition members out of order. And it's not true that we only agree with issues raised by ANC members. But there is something that gets said again and again until those that say those things really start to believe them. And you wonder where the rest of South Africa are in terms of listening and watching and actually taking a position in terms of the principles contained in what informs the conduct of those few members that in fact don't care about the decorum of Parliament. Do you ever hear when the Honorable Buthelezi objects to the way things are done in Parliament, which is the issue that presiding officers are continuously at pain to point out to members. We tell honorable members ahead of time, and they tell the whole country, no, we will still disrupt. And when the event actually unfolds, no, people don't see that. They see only a presiding officer being wrong. I think it's political. It's a choice people make, that they will always stand on the side of those that are disruptive, and they will always see wrong with anybody occupying the chair.
But what if there are people out there who do not understand, genuinely do not understand how the rules are applied? Do you not feel that you have a responsibility, perhaps beyond that of members like Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, to really be seen to be going out of your way even to make sure that the rules are perfectly understood, and when you make such rulings, it leaves no doubt in anyone's mind that you are applying a particular rule of Parliament, and that is what had to be done? Do you not believe that you have that extra responsibility, if we may call it that?
Yes, we actually believe it so much that ahead of a State of the Nation address, we go all out, starting from last year in 2015, to take members of the media through the rules. We explain the differences between different types of joint sittings or sittings in general in terms of the two houses. We tell the whole world the do's and don'ts. We explain to them the purpose of a joint sitting to receive the State of the Nation address. You know, there are many things we have been telling members of the public on TV, on radio, not only us presiding officers, but members of the procedural staff led by the two secretaries of the two houses, as well as the secretary to Parliament. So yes, we try our best, Vuyo, but the public must also be willing to listen, to make it their own responsibility to understand and to come to us and raise questions where they need clarification.
How do you feel when people start saying things like, well, we've had people we thought were partisan before, like Fenini Jinwala being speakers of Parliament. And we do have today people like Togo Didiza who, when they preside over the proceedings, things are a lot more manageable. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel, because I know what we do in preparation together with all those people that you are talking about, there is a politically inspired position taken when someone is in the chair to present a particular perspective. You know, I understand that. It's part and parcel of the political space that one operates in.
Has there ever been times when you felt, let me just leave this job for peace's sake, or see whether that will remove the problem?
I know it will not never remove the problem.
But have you ever been in that space?
Way. No, I don't feel I must leave my job. There's no job that's smooth sailing, that's easy. We are in a difficult space, but somebody has to do it. It has fallen on me to do it this time, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability and up to the end.
Well, to just cite an example, when judges prefer or decide to recuse themselves, it's not usually because they feel that they are wrong or not qualified for the task at hand. But if there are lingering perceptions of bias and unfairness, they then feel, in the interest of justice, maybe what I should do is to recuse myself.
No, Vuyo. I don't feel that way.
And if you were to, looking at the events of the past year, if you were to rate your own performance, and how would you say that you've done the best that you could do, and you've been fair to everyone?
I know I have been fair to everyone, and I have a sense of peace when I go to bed at night.